Kelly Ripa pressed her palm to the cold glass of the living room window, staring at the city lights that usually comforted her. Tonight, though, the skyline felt distant, untouchable, like it belonged to someone else. Her phone lay face down on the coffee table, silent, accusing. The morning had started like any other. Coffee, scripts, the shuffle of emails, but by noon, everything had changed. A single call from a hospital room. Mark's voice, small and tense over the phone. They found something. 3 words that overturned her world. Found something. The phrase was supposed to comfort, but it did nothing of the sort. Kelly knew, deep in her bones, that nothing would ever feel the same. Later, she would remember the hospital differently. The disinfectant in the air, the soft click of nurses' shoes on the floor, the brittle, fragile sound of forced laughter. But memory is a trickster. It holds the tiny details, not the headlines. The way Mark tucked his hair behind his ear, the dog curled around his shoes like an anchor, a soft reminder of normalcy. The day unfolded in a series of small, desperate decisions. Mark called an old friend who still answered in the afternoon. Then again, because some details fray on the first telling. Kelly called the children's school, her agent, the production team. Each call was a cut, a stitch, an attempt to hold the edges of reality together. By the afternoon, the story leaked online. Kelly left the studio, rehearsed expressions and polished smiles suddenly useless. She felt stripped bare, exposed to a world that would see her private grief as public spectacle. Outside, life continued as if nothing had happened. People crossed streets, bought milk, a cyclist cursed a cab. Ordinary, Kelly thought. Ordinary was a mercy. When she stepped into the flurry of cameras, her composure gave way. Tears ran down her cheeks as mascara smudged in dark streaks. That single frame would travel across feeds and tabloids, intimate yet invasive. A woman suddenly carrying a weight she had never asked for. The image took on a life of its own. Some responded with kindness, sharing stories of how her show had helped them through hardship. Others offered speculation, cruel assumptions, timelines of illness and judgment. In the hospital, the rooms were calm, clinical, and precise. Doctors spoke with practiced care. An aggressive tumor. The words nodded through the family's lives, pulling tightly at everyone they loved. Mark, on camera, handsome, charming, irreverent, now showed vulnerability folded like origami, reshaped by fear. Laughter became soft, questions constant, his attention on preserving a sense of normalcy
Kids
for their children.
adapted with a mix of practicality and fragile strength. Ween filled empty rooms with jokes. Michael retreated to sketchbooks, but returned when needed. Lola created lists to make sense of chaotic days. Kelly discovered that questions could armor the heart. What did the scan show? What were the treatment options? Who could they trust with truth? She cataloged everything, putting each query like a bookmark on a shelf of survival. Days blurred. Hospital visits, forms, long waits, the smell of coffee that tasted like patience, calls from friends, deliveries of meals with notes attached, small acts of generosity that were both humbling and inadequate. And then there was anger, Kelly's private volcanic fury, rage at the world, at photographers, at indifference. Anger she learned to channel, petitioning for privacy, calling managers, lawyers, friends who could protect her quietly but efficiently. Mark met the world with jokes, charm, and small flirtations, but at night he allowed himself to be small. Movies, whispered confessions, tears on Kelly's lap. He shared stories from childhood, secret fears, songs that made him cry, dreams that might not come true. The living room became their refuge, a place to gather in loose chaos, talking about nothing or reading scripts, preserving ordinary life amidst extraordinary fear. Kelly saved messages from strangers who found solace in her show or routine, storing them in a document called Good Things, a fragile buoy in the storm. She learned to accept help when it mattered, decline it when it was empty. She refused to let her life be reduced to sound bites for a camera. Instead, she wrote small notes for her children: how to make pancakes, fold a fitted sheet, find laughter in a movie clip, practice bravery in small daily acts. These became her guidebook for ordinary days. Treatment plans followed: chemotherapy, surgery, radiation. Each word felt heavy, each syllable a weight of experience. Doctors spoke in cautious probabilities, blending hope and stoicism. And through it all, Mark changed subtly but profoundly, quieter in public, more expansive in private. Late-night conversations excavated joy and sorrow alike, revealing truths never shared before. In the midst of fear and uncertainty, the family held together. They treasured small details, found comfort in each other, and discovered resilience in ordinary acts. They were a family facing a storm, but finding moments of light in every shadow.